Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and you are welcome to this morning Shabbat. And we glorify the name of God for giving us the grace and the opportunity to glorify His name and to thank Him and to bless His mighty name. As you can see from our background, we are having the Shabbat in a private place because we are trying to glorify the name of God. Next week we are going to be going back to the synagogue. We are having a special moment and a special time today. All right. So the parasha of this morning is known as parasha. It's known as parasha Kitise. The parasha of this morning is known as parasha Kitise, and I subtitle it "Remember Your Yesara." Remember your Yesara, aka Amalek. Okay, because our sages always give us this understanding about the Amalekites, about the Amalek, what they did against Israel when we went out of Mizraim, when we came out of Egypt, and God gave us a command, right, that we should remember what Amalek did. So Amalek here, that God is trying to give us this understanding here, is the representative of Yesara, is the representative of the evil inclination in man. So therefore I subtitle it, Remember Your Yetzerah. Remember your Yesera. Everybody has it. It doesn't matter if you are an Israeli, if you are from any other race, or if you are from the Goyim. It doesn't matter. Everybody, human being, that is the way God, the Almighty, created every human being. So every human being has this Yesera, and we as a person, we as an individual, we as a home, we as a family, we as a country, we as a nation has to eliminate, has to remove this Yesera, this evil inclination from among ourselves. Okay? So, although the parasha both begins and ends with commandments arising in a war context, the overwhelming majority of the parasha detail commandments of morality between man and his fellow at home. Thus, the Torah teaches us that if man is able to control his evil inclination in time of war against his enemy, how much more so he will be able to control it at home with regard to his fellow. So therefore, if we can control our evil inclination, if we can control our anger, if we can control our frustration, if we can control those negative things in our life during the time of war, during the time of destruction, during the time of killing, how much more can we be able to control it in the time of peace, in the time of calmness, in the time where there is no war? So the Torah is giving us this fundamental understanding that when you actually Kitsese means when you go out. So when you go out, and here I am saying that when we go out against who? Against Yesera. When we go out against Yesera, so God is asking us individually and collectively to go out against those negative stress in our lives, that we should be able to remove them, and be able to concentrate and build our life up from the scratch, and build them up to the level of holiness, to the level of righteousness, to the level where we can say, thank you, O Lord, for your blessing, for your peace, for your joy, for your glory in my life. The going out to war is not just physical, but one also of a spiritual nature. All right, going out against the evil inclination who appears at the most opportune moment to lead us astray in our daily activities, from serving our God, from serving the Holy One, blessed be He. Right? Thus, getting through each day is both a spiritual and physical battle from the enemy outside and the enemy within. So this is the understanding, right? This is the expression, or otherwise this is the explanation that Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to tell us, was trying to give us this basic understanding that when we are going out to battle, it is not only only a physical one, but rather also a spiritual nature. Remember that man is physical and spiritual at the same time, right? So we as an individual, we as a Torah student, we as people that follow the Torah of God that God gave to Moshe, we have to do what? We have to understand that Yesera is always looking around, is looking down there, looking for an opportunity, looking for a time that it can sneak in and cause havoc. It can sneak in and cause destruction. It can sneak in and cause problem. So we as an individual, we as a Torah student must always understand this. And the fact of the matter is that the battle is not only a physical battle, but majority of the time is also a spiritual one. So we should have put that at the back of our mind. We have to try as much as possible for us individually and collectively to be able to stand up against this evil inclination. Even if we are able to know with any degree of certainty which peoples belongs to the nation of Amalek in our present exile, we are forbidden to actually carry out the mitzvah of eradicating this hopeless evil nation. Still, there remain a mitzvah incumbent upon us to remember that what Amalek did to us. That is Deuteronomy chapter 25 from verse 1 to 7, or Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 17. Deuteronomy, Devarim chapter 25 verse 17. Here that says, you shall remember what Amalek did unto you. We have to remember this, because once you forget, remember there is a general saying that history do repeat itself. So if we forget, right, then it will repeat itself. You know, I know a particular group of people or group of nations, they will tell you, you know, forgive and forget, you know, and that is not the message of the Torah. Absolutely not the message of the Torah. That is the message of the evil one. That is the message of Yesera, in order for him to creep into your life and destroy you. Because say forgive and forget. So yes, you forgive and you forget, and it will repeat itself again. But the message of the Torah is for you to forgive, but never forget. Because you forgive, that is it. But you should not forget what happened. Because once you forget what happened, then you are doomed to repeat it again. You are doomed to destruction, because it will keep on repeating itself in your life. You shall remember what Amalek did unto you. After all the miracles God performed for the Hebrew people in Mizraim and at the Red Sea, Amalek displayed the unmitigated boldness to attempt to undo with one monstrous attack all the effect of the miracles and wonders that had the other nation of the world trembling before God and his people Israel. As sages in Midrash Tahuma Kitise 9 state, in this Midrash, they compare Amalek wicked action to that of a madman who, seeing a boiling cauldron that all others were afraid to touch, nonetheless dove into it. Even though he himself came out badly scarred, he managed to cool the water psychologically psychologically to a degree where others would then take the plunge. All of the evidence of God's special protection for the Hebrew people did not prevent Amalek from attacking them, thereby making them fair game for the other nations. The Zohar in Parashat Beshelach described Amalek as a force in the world that is allied with evil and death against godliness and the truth. So, in summarizing what the Midrash is saying, the Midrash is giving us this understanding that Amalek is compared to a madman. is someone who's out of his normal sense, someone who is psychologically sick, someone who needs a help, someone who needs healing, right? So Amalek is like a madman who seeing a boiling water that is boiling seriously drove into it. It plunged into this water, though he himself came out very, very scared. It's so deadly that it is barely alive, but it managed to cool the temperature of that water in order for other people to be able to take their own plunge. So this is what our sages describe the actions of Amalek, and this is where the problem is. There is always a saying that when a bigger problem pull you down, smaller one will climb on top of it. So this is the issue here, that God is telling us that we should be extremely careful of those problems, or those tiny problems that sometimes we don't see. Because as Yeshua said, he said, most of us we see the small stick in the eyes of our brothers, but the big log in our own eyes, we don't see it. And when the Torah is trying to give us this understanding about those big log in our eyes, we tend to become defensive. We tend to become, oh, no. This is not what the Torah is saying. We should be sober enough to remove our ego. We should be sober enough to remove, to go out from that I, from that self. This is what the Torah is giving us understanding this morning, that we as a child of God, we as a student of the Torah, I repeat, as a student of the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu, we should be able to be sober ourselves to the level of understanding of what the Torah is saying, in order for us to be able to inherit the world to come. A proud man has no place in the presence of God. A proud man has no place in the presence of God. So why the Zohar in Parashat Beshelah describe Amalek as a force in the world that is allied with evil and death against godliness and the truth. So why must we always remember what Amalek did? Rabbi Moshe Feinstein said in the book Direct Moshe that that suggests that today the purpose of this mitzvah is for us to always bear in mind the possibility of any human being to become as evil as Amalek, to deny the undeniable, that of God's role in the world. So the message to the individual is regarding his own evil inclination. Though, why must we always remember what Amalek did? Rabbi Feinstein gave us this understanding in Derech Moshe, in the book of Derech Moshe, saying that it suggests that today the purpose of this mitzvah is for us to always put in mind the possibility of any human being becoming evil. Because remember that we are created with the good and with the negative, the positive side of human and the negative side of human. So we should be able to understand, in fact, these two sides. We should be able to understand these two sides of our being. So if we don't understand these two sides, that is where the problem is, and that is where the problem will come from. Because there are people who call themselves, the wise men of the world. Most of them, they tell you they have doctorate degree in this and this and this, that they are trying to deny the role which the Holy One, blessed be He, is playing in our world. They will tell you that the world is by chance. They will tell you that everything that you see is just occur just like that. So all these kinds of hypotheses, because I cannot call it a theory. This kind of hypothesis that all these men that they call themselves doctor, that say we are doctorate in this and that, it's just so foolish. We can see this, that even though the eyes, the organ eyes, we can see the complex issue that it is that I itself is so powerful that it can't just exist just like that. It needs a designer. It needs somebody, a higher intelligence that design it. So it is extremely important for us to understand the role which the Holy One, blessed be He, is playing in our world. In the commentary, Ohev Yisrael by Rabbi Abraham Yehoshua, it put it beautifully. It is not only the nation of Israel that is commanded regarding the destruction of Amalek. It is every single individual who must destroy that portion of evil hidden within all of our heart and totally uproot it, so that there is not the slightest remnant left. Since we believe that every human being is a miniature universe unto himself, there is in everyone that force of Amalek, that essential, that essence of evil, which work at all times to cause a person to sin. This is why it is necessary to remember always the power of Amalek. So the power of Amalek is extremely powerful, and we have to understand that Amalek is extremely powerful. So, and is extremely subtle, is extremely cunning. So it can deceive. So we have to understand this, because sometimes the Amalek itself, aka Yesera, may even come and tempt you and say, okay, this is what the Torah said, as it tested Yeshua. You know, you might say, oh, this is what the Torah said, but if you don't understand the Torah to the degree of understanding, to the degree of applying it into your life, you know, to become a wisdom, then that is where the problem comes. Because you say, oh, the Torah said this, okay, let me go and do it. But actually, the Yesera, aka Amalek, is trying to con you, to deceive you using the word of God. So it is Rabbi Abraham Yehoshua said that it is not only for Israel to destroy the Amalek, the evil inclination, the Yesera in our life, but actually God is giving this as a template for the whole world, for every human creation, every human being on the planet. That if we as a human being can be able to do what? To remove this evil inclination and subdue it, then we can be able to grow up to the level of an intelligence, to the level of a being. Because when a man allows the Yesera to control his or her life, then that person is still living on the degree of an animal, the animalistic instinct. That's what the person is living on. But once you are able to do what? To grow up from that animalistic instinct, from that animalistic behavior into an intelligent behavior, into an intelligent being, then that is when I have overcome the Yesera. Just as Amalek fell so low, we must fear that any one of us can fall equally low. Just as Amalek ignored all the wonders and signs of God's power and might, so anyone might also fall prey to this evil inclination. So we to the evil inclination, ignoring the wonder and the signs of God. We must always remember to persist in the good practices we have always established for ourselves. It is our duty to introspect and recognize the little Amalek lurking within all of us, attempting to challenge our belief in God and His holy Torah. So, just as Amalek fell so low, it is a possibility that people, even believers, can fall low. You see, we have to understand this. We have to give a clear understanding about it. We are human beings, right? We might fall low, but in the book of Kehilel, it said that a man falls 7 times, a man rises 7 times. So it is not the possibility of you not falling, but when you fall or when a man falls, can he rise again? That is the question. We might fall. It is human being, right? Because we are still in the flesh. But what makes us different, what makes us a student of the Torah, is that ability to rise up again. Is that ability to rise up to the challenges. Is that ability to stand up again. We might fall. It happens in one way or the other. But can we look back and say, oh, I have sinned? Just like our father, David Hamalek. Oh, I have sinned. I have committed crime. I have done something wrong. God Almighty, please forgive me. Forgive my iniquity. Forgive my transgression. I have done what is evil in your sight. So that mind, that understanding, the soul that make teshuvah, that is the soul that God is looking after. That remorse that, oh, I have done wrong. I see before I am being judged. I judge myself first because I know that what I did is not right. Because I know that what I did is wrong. Then God will look at that soul and God will raise that soul up again. So that is the understanding that the Torah is giving us here. Anyone can fall, I repeat, even though a student of the Torah. But do you have the mind, the strength, the energy to rise up again? Because some people, they fall into a death and they remain there for the rest of their life behaving like pigs. So therefore, we have, as a human being, has to rise up and tackle our belt, and say, I want to follow and I will follow the Torah. We are now approaching the day of Aweh with their call for soul searching and coming closer to our Creator. The high holy days are coming, and this is the time of soul searching, to inspect our life, to inspect ourselves. What have we done wrong during this year? Where have we fallen short? What have we come short of? Or what can I improve in my life? What can I do better? So this is what we have to, the questions that we have to ask ourselves. What can I do better from now on? What can I improve in my life? What is the negative trait in my life that I have to get rid of, that I have to remove before the high holidays are coming? Before Yom Teruah and Yom Kippur, before Simchat Torah and so on and so forth. Please, it is extremely important for us to have this inspect, to search our soul, ourselves. David Hamalek said, God, help me to put your light in those areas of my life that I cannot see. Because most of us, we cannot see ourselves. We don't stand in the mirror to look at the mirror. We don't see ourselves, but we can see others. So we have to ask God to give us this understanding, to put his light in those dark areas, in those dark corners of our lives that we cannot see, so that he can help us to see our shortcoming. He can help us to see those negative sides. He can help us to see where we need improvement, and give us the ability and the strength and the power to improve on it. Are we really likely, after all that, repenting, to leave the synagogue and behave with quality to others? We see that we are never completely immune with committing even grave sin. We are all made of the same flesh and blood as the wicked of our generation. When the sages warn us in Avot 2:5, do not believe in yourself until the day of your death. They had in mind each and every one of us. They knew that without exception, anyone could, God forbid, stumble in any of the mitzvot. We must never allow smugness or self-confidence to get in the way of being on guard against the evil within. We must never allow self-confidence. Oh, I am this, I am that, I am holier than thou. I can see other people's faults, but my own fault I cannot see. I am blind to my own family's shortcoming, but I can see all the things all the bad things that is happening in other people's family. You know, I can see what is wrong with that synagogue, but your own synagogue you cannot see. I can see what is wrong with that rabbi, but you as a rabbi cannot see what is wrong with you. That is what I am saying here. That we as a person, we as an individual, we as a family, we as an organization, we as a country has to introspect in our life, to search deep in our soul, to go back and search so deep to understand where we need an improvement. God forbid anyone can fall, even though the strongest of the strongest in the Torah, anyone can come short. Moshe Rabbeinu came short, right? But God forgave him and God took him up. So this is what the Torah, that's why I love the Torah. The Torah is so beautiful, right? That even though our greatest heroes, the Torah speaks of them like a human being. It speaks of them when they came short. He said they did this wrong, they did that wrong, and they did this wrong, but they improved here, and they overcame all their faults. So this is a very good encouragement for us individually and collectively. Torah wants us to emulate Moshe. He wants us to see that yes, we can fall short, but we have to rise up. The ability for us to rise up again, right? Not to remain in the death, not to remain in that evilness, not to remain in that negativity, but to grow up into positivity. So this is what I am trying to give us understanding this morning. Please, 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 let us search deep. Stop pointing fingers, because remember, when you point a finger, the rest four is pointing at you. Let us do our best to take hold on life, to take hold on the Torah, for Torah is life. We have to take hold of it, and take hold of it so tight that we should not let it go, right? Because in it is life, in it is a guardian, in it is everything that can guide you through this physical world. Remember, I said that this physical world is filled with holes, with traps, with all kinds of with that kind of corner, you know. But it is the Torah that can give us, that can guide us, that can protect us against those pits, those traps that the enemy had set against us. So please and please, let us be sound in the Torah. Let us follow what the Torah said. Remember what Amalek did. Remember, we have to remember that in each and every one of us there is a Yeserah. There is this evil inclination, and we have, as an individual, as a group, as a nation, has to remove it. We have to eliminate it, that there will be no any little threat of it remaining. We have to completely eradicate them, right? This is what the Torah is saying, to completely eradicate, not to allow it to remain. Oh, you know, I'm trying to do what? To manage it. No, you cannot manage it. Don't think that you are holier than thou. Don't think that you are smarter than Yeserah. Yeserah is 6,000 years older than you. You have to understand that. He's very, very smart. So therefore, you cannot manage it. You have to eradicate. That's what the Torah is saying. You have to eradicate it, remove it completely out of our life, so that we can now grow. We can now reach the highest potential of our being. We can reach the highest potential that the Holy One, blessed be He, has created us to be. So please, Parasha Kitise, remember Amalek. Shabbat Shalom.